the social media ban, which is going to pass, the coalition's going to pass it. They've got at least one Alex Antic going across the floor. There's, I think, 3 or 4 others, Andrew was reporting, that are holding, standing by to possibly cross the floor. What do you make of this? What sort of feedback have you been getting on the social media reforms?
I think overwhelmingly parents are relieved to see a stand being taken. The reality is that social media can be very good. This legislation recognises it has some very good purposes for vulnerable kids. It can provide benefits. But big tech's got to get the message that we're not going to let you trade in kids' data of 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. Big tech's got to get the message. You have a duty of care. This isn't about punishing a child or punishing a parent. But these big tech companies, they're like a giant part of the global economy. They're making squillions. It's about time that they started treating our kids as kids, not as, decimal points in a gazillion profit balance sheet.
It's interesting, Peter Dutton, he knows the politics of this are red hot, and while some in the party room might have some concerns, as you've said, families, parents, the people, anyone with kids or grandkids would know this issue is absolutely red hot.
I get there are some libertarians in the Liberal Party in the far right, and maybe even on the far left, who think that doing anything is an imposition on free will and free choice. But kids are not commodities. I want our kids to have their childhoods, and these libertarians, let's have the debate when people are adults, but do they really think that a 13 or 14-year-old's data should be trafficked?
Yeah, well, you're an adult for a long time generally, aren't you?
Well,
you're not a kid for very long.
No,
so,
that's right.
It's about preserving their childhoods, and absolutely families that you speak to, that I speak to, overwhelmingly in support of it. I want to ask you about the Greens capitulating on the housing bill. Were you surprised by that?
I'm pleased.
Predictable.
I'm pleased that Claire O'Neill's got the bill through. I think it is a bit of momentum in the last week of Parliament of this year. The Greens have really, in my opinion, lost the plot. They have just been oppositionalist, and they've made the perfect the enemy of the good. This is policy they previously supported. I think the Greens think that if they can sabotage Labor, then they can harvest our vote and say, well, look, we're the only really fair income people because we're so pure. But as a famous politician once said, only the pure are impotent. And the Greens' opposition mentality, I think, is turning people off.
A couple of quick ones before you go. Donald Trump has announced massive tariffs, even on Canada, 25% on Canada, Mexico. He's not even in the White House yet. This is going to be a wild ride, isn't it?
Well, we will do everything we can to make sure that we protect Australia's economic interests. I know the government looked at both political party in America's economic policies. We are an open trading nation. I think we'll do okay with the Americans. The challenge will be other nations affected by the Yanks trying to dump stuff here, and we'll just have to be on our A game. But I know our people are working on that day and night. Yeah,
and as I said, you had your valedictory last week. How are you feeling today, both personally but in terms of where the government's at?
I had a chance to briefly address the caucus. It'll be my last caucus meeting. I've been to about 400 of them over 17 years. I thank the caucus. I think this caucus has given the Prime Minister and the Executive outstanding unity and support. They have on the wall the pictures of all the former leaders. And I said the only way that someone gets to have their picture on the wall is because of the faces in the room. And the Labor Party, what it has, when everything else, all the chips are down, is we have to learn to stick together. And I thank people for their commitment to the people of Australia and sticking together.
And you think they'll win?
I think the election is winnable, but it's a contest. I do think, however, we've got a positive set of agendas. There's a cost of living crisis. The tax cuts, the Medicare stuff, the cheaper medicine, the help with the energy rebates. What we think about when we get up in the morning as a government is how do we help everyday Aussies? I think the opposition hasn't done enough homework. They've got no policy other than that sort of bizarre Soviet Union nuclear policy.
Yes, well, we will stay in touch. You're going to be Vice-Chancellor at Canberra Uni, so we'll still see you, which is nice.
Why not? Thank you.
That'd be good. Now, thanks, Bill.